Welcome to the Voice of Vicious podcast. Welcome to the Voice of Vicious. I am your host, Vanny Vicious. Guys, I'm sweating. Look at me on a microphone, bro. What the fuck?
Hello, Adila.
Hi, Vanny.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. My first podcast episode ever.
I can't believe that this is your first podcast.
No one gives a shit about me. I don't know.
No, dude, with the amount of stuff that you have done in your life and your career, like how the fuck is this your first podcast?
I mean, I'm glad my first is with you, though.
I'm glad too. I feel fucking honored that, hell yeah.
Like, this is so fun already, and we haven't even started. So
I know. Well, we're chatting it up before we went live.
Mm-hmm.
We had to say all the things we can't say on the internet.
Right, right.
So, all right, guys, this is Adila Music on Instagram. I'm going to put everything, of course, on the screen down below, all that stuff. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is going to be cool. So you were born in South Africa.
I was, yes. Durban, specifically.
Look at the chains. Repping.
Oh, yeah. I promise I didn't plan that. I was like, oh, this looks really cool.
It does. I love it. But you were raised in Florida, right?
Yes, South Florida.
So, and now you're in Atlanta.
Which I love.
Okay.
A trillion %.
Why did you choose Atlanta? What was the transition from Florida to Atlanta? Like, how did you end up there?
Sorry, I have dogs. I told you they'll wait till it's live and they're like, okay, it's popping. Let's go.
So we're going to talk about dogs and how you're their manager and everything too.
Oh, yeah. But, just visiting Atlanta, I love the vibe. My husband loved the vibe. And one day he was just like, hey, do you want to leave Florida and go to Atlanta? And he caught me in the right moment. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I don't think anybody believed we were leaving. And then within like 7 months, we were gone. And I got here and I was like, this is home. Like, this is where I should be. And I will never leave, probably.
Yeah, my mom kind of said the same thing. Like, she's not in Atlanta, but she's in Georgia. And she was just like, it's just, obviously she's in the country, so it's a little different. But she's like, this is just where I feel the best. I'm chilling. Like, I feel like I'm less stressed. I don't have that Miami, Florida bullshit to deal with. And like, yeah. Do you feel like
this is going to be an unpopular opinion because I don't know how many of your fans are from Florida, but like, I feel like Southern hospitality starts in Georgia.
I could agree with that.
Skips Florida completely.
Yeah.
For some reason. And it starts here. And like, there's so much art and just the people are so nice. And there's so much inspiration, like you can walk down the street and everyone's waving and friendly. And I love it.
Yeah. I could definitely agree with that, even though I'm a Florida kid still. But like anytime I visited Georgia, it's a whole different vibe. Like completely. Yeah. It's anywhere out of Florida, to be honest.
Yeah, come up here, move up here like immediately.
Any other state, you sound like my mom, any other state that I've been to, I'm like, people are so nice. And it's like fucked up because being from Florida, I'm used to like attitudes and not saying hello and like just being quiet when you're sharing an elevator with somebody.
Yes. And that's the one thing. It was funny. Like we moved here and then like we came back to Florida with the dogs for work, for music. And we were at a hotel in Fort Lauderdale and we were in the elevator and we were like, hi. And people were just like, we're like, this is why we left.
Yeah.
Just right here. I mean, even like going into the grocery stores or going into a restaurant, people are happy to be there and do their job and be kind. And like during the pandemic, I know that like here people were just really respectful of each other. I heard different stories from Florida because my parents lived there. So I'm really happy here. I love it.
I mean, you got to be where you're happiest and where you feel, comfortable. And I mean, me, I have anxiety. I can't imagine leaving Florida. And part of my anxiety is like social a little bit. So I don't know if I could handle like having to be polite in the street with strangers. Otherwise, people will think I'm rude. I don't know. But I really do get that. Because when I go visit my mom and stuff, everyone is just so nice. All the neighbors are super helpful with each other. Like here, I don't know any of my neighbors. I've never known my neighbors, no matter where I've lived.
Yeah, I know like every neighbor. They have my number. I have their number.
Yeah, that's the best though. So we've known each other for a hot ass minute.
I know.
Like, like how
Sorry about this.
like 15 years or something?
I was thinking about that today. Yeah, we have known each other for 15 years. And like, of all people, like we have like seen each other's growth, struggles, come ups, like how I remember like, and I know you were like all the music videos I would do that were just like so like we don't have a light, so we're all gonna like flash our iPhones on you to light you up. I mean, yeah, that's how long we've known each other.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how things have evolved, and it's like it's become so much easier to create content now because you could get like a professional ass ring light for like $12 on the TikTok shop. And back then we were like struggling to like make something look cool for the fucking internet.
I mean, I still don't have the professional ring light. So there you go. But, you know, I feel like a lot of that hustle, though, I kept with me, like even all these years later. And now I'm like, and I don't know if you're like this, but even now I'm just like, well, I could do this like so much easier with less stress and like guerrilla style. Like I still prefer that. It's weird.
Yeah, me too. I still prefer to be like, I'm just gonna pack a bag, throw it in the trunk of my car, let's drive around and find a spot to shoot.
Same.
Same. I much prefer that over a studio and the dramatics of everything. I don't know. These kids on like these days, it's just so different for them.
Like I want it low key, like you said, like just make it shake. Like this is what we got to do. We're gonna make it happen quick, no fuss. Let's go.
Exactly. So give us a little backstory on how you started in music, how you started rapping. Tell us how that happened. Tell them.
I know, but tell them. You know, I mean, I was singing since I was a kid, and it was like my, you know, that was my like thing. Like I want to be an artist, and I want to, you know, make music. And what I didn't know then that I know now is like writing was my gift, right? And I came up in a time where like you kind of had to be this like amazing singer, but I loved hip hop. So that was like another side of me. And I was like, well, I can rap. And then in the last, I think when I did my first album that I dropped, there was one song on that. I'm so sorry. Literally. Sorry.
I'm a dog person. It's all good. Trust me.
They're both going. Like one sees something imaginary and it just.
Listen, I rent out an office space for these podcasts because of my dogs. Like I know that they would be on that ruckus shit all the time. I get it.
So a couple years ago, so my first album, I dropped it, and I wanted to tell this whole story of like who I was as an artist, and I sang and I rapped on it. And because I was always a fan of Lauryn Hill, I was like, look, nobody does it like Lauryn. She can do it all. She doesn't need like a rap feature on her music. Like she's good. She can go back and forth. So I kind of took that inspiration and I dropped Off the Burner to like zero success, to be honest. But what it did was like laid that foundation for like, this girl can make a project, and here's all the styles she can do, and she can rap and she can sing. And there was one crazy song on the end of the track that was just like a Beastie Boys style rap track. And it was so fire, and it just was there.
Yeah.
And little did I know, like fast forward, like this would be where I would end up and land and love, you know. And I look back now and I'm like, you know, all of these people that want
style like never goes out of style. Like everybody can fuck with like a 90s vibe, you know, like very hype, you know what I'm saying? Like, and anyone
type sounding music, just like, and it's like not only the most fun for me, but I don't know. It's like I'm tiny, but I feel like I'm a giant when I make these records.
Yeah. So you've been featured in a lot of stuff. From having your picture on the side of a giant bus.
That was really cool. That was like cool. So cool.
Like what the fuck? Like, oh, okay. makes me want to like go pay for a billboard and shit.
Shout out to TuneCore because they did that, and I was like, I had this moment, and I will still get teary eyed. Oh my god, I'm getting teary eyed right now when I think about it. But there was this moment where basically they said, "Come to New York. We're having this event, and it's going to be really cool." And they unveiled this double-decker bus. And I'm on it, and I'm just like, oh my god! And we're going through Times Square, and there's a moment where Jay-Z and Alicia Keys' song "New York" comes on, and it just happens to be like the moment we go by the Empire State Building.
Damn.
And I just like look up at this like giant. I'm sorry, my phone. I look up at this giant just building. It's so iconic, and I'm in Times Square, and I'm on a double-decker bus, and my face is on it, and I'm like, I just was like wanted to cry, and I was so emotional because I'm like, here you are, you're this girl from Africa, and like, who thought you would end up on a bus in Times Square? And it was like one of the coolest experiences I ever had.
love that picture that you showed me too of you like standing on the bus. Like it just because you're so tiny and just makes it look that much larger. Like you're just like, holy shit, like this is huge. Like,
and I have this great picture.
You could see like how big, how massive this fucking bus is when she's standing next to it. It's crazy.
And I have this picture somebody took of me where it was like that exact moment, and I'm just standing there like looking up, and I'm like in total awe. And it was a great way to experience New York.
Yeah.
Like in the most unique way ever.
Yeah. You also were on Spin Magazine recently.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was a dope feature. It's all on her Instagram, guys, if you guys want to check it out. As well as your music has been placed, with Netflix, right? Nickelodeon. You did the theme song for the NHL Stanley Cup.
I did. That was really cool too.
Happened. That's crazy.
I literally know nothing about hockey, so that made it.
That's why I'm like, how did that happen? How does that happen?
And so when they called and they wanted to use the song, I was like, amazing. And then they're like, we also want to do a music video. And I'm like, amazing. And then they're like, we're going to do it on the ice. And I'm like, I do not know how to ice skate. Like, first and foremost, I do not know how to ice skate. And it was funny, like as they were coming up with the concept, I kept throwing in like, wouldn't it be cool if I was like in the stands rapping? Because I'm like, I don't want to be on the ice, and this is crazy. Like already, like I'm freezing, and I'm thinking about this. And then we get there. I fly out to New York, and we go to do the video, and I'm just like, oh, this is real, and I'm really gonna be on the ice. And they're like, okay, well, we didn't like smooth the ice out, like I guess when they drive that Zamboni over, it like smooths it so they can go faster on the ice. And they're like, well, we didn't do that. And I was still like, okay, I'm gonna.
So if it's rougher, it's like easier to skate on.
It was not rough. I mean, it was. I don't know. I was in sneakers.
It wasn't glossy or anything. Like it was just normal ice.
It was normal ice. I was on sneakers. And so I was in front, obviously, as we're shooting. And I don't even realize, like, they had a drum line, the drum line is so dope. And you probably could find them on my Instagram. They were dancing behind me, and they had never been on ice, but they were doing their and like spinning and doing all the stuff. And I'm just like in front, and I'm like, plant your feet and move your upper body, girl. Like this is not one of those moments. Like, not that I can dance anyway, but like
end up in a fucking split on the ice right now.
Girl, there was a point where I was wearing a red leggings from American Apparel, I think.
Yeah.
Red leggings.
You love American Apparel. You always.
I do love American Apparel. They fit me because they come in extra, extra small. It's like the no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's so funny that you remember that. Yeah, I do. And I was just dying. I was just like, it was so cold, but
that's how you know we're from Florida. We've never ice skated. We go stand on an ice rink and we're like, I don't like this. Like I can't how do you want me to perform right now? That's hilarious. Did anyone fall their ass?
What was that?
Did anyone fall?
did anyone fall? I didn't fall. I know that. I didn't fall. You know what's really funny about this? Is what I gotta tell you. It's really funny. So we shot in 2 days, and so we did like the where I went to actually where the NHL the offices are, which is so dope. It's like skyscraper top of New York, and where they actually like do the sports commentary and all that. So we did that shooting, and then and a little bit of the ice, and then we were going to come back the next day and do the ice and a studio shot. And in the middle of the night in the hotel, I like forget where I am. I'm sleeping, and I go to the bathroom, and my phone falls, and I come back, and I like hit my nose on the nightstand. So that was the injury I sustained. Was actually
So it wasn't the ice at all.
And I'm like, oh my God, my nose. Like I'm icing it, and I'm like, just don't do anything crazy because I got to shoot tomorrow. But that video was so cool, and it was such a great opportunity. And I feel like doing that like brought me into that legacy of the NHL and brought me into that world. And once the video was done and I got to see like just to have the aggression of my song and like my lyrics, because the song is Champion, and then to see these guys like kind of, you know, going at it in the ring, it was like perfect.
Hockey players are tough.
Yes.
Like
yes.
they're big. They got their teeth knocked out. They don't even care because it's gonna keep happening. Like hockey games are intense.
Yeah, and I didn't want my teeth knocked out or anything like that. But you know what I'm saying? But it was so fun. And when we wrapped, it was like, yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was
we're gonna show everyone a little clip of this video that we're talking about. So let's see if I can figure this out because
I believe in you.
I'm new to this.
So get to the book, I'm a champion. Let's go. Game on, don't turn off. Who won war when you square off? Don't wear off when you're drifting champion. Count me out. What happened? I don't break the sweat. I'm a champion. So get to the book, I'm a champion.
That's so cool.
It hypes me up still. I'm like, yes, girl,
I'm like, that's my dog though. Like, I know her. Shit. I'm so fucking proud of you, honestly. Like
Thank you.
You know, we've seen each other grow up into, you know, adult women and shit. It's crazy. So tell me, I don't know what this Ubisoft thing is. Tell me what this is. Is this like a video game? What is this?
So one, it was my first sync placement, which was amazing. It was during the pandemic, and it's for a trailer for this video game, Riders Republic. And so this was the first time I got to see like a visual with my song cut to it, or my song cut to a visual, however you want to say it. And it was like a drug, because I was like, I love this. Like, this is the coolest thing to hear my voice, you know, just kind of, I don't know, just married to this visual, and I love it, and I want to do it over and over again.
So a sync space is when they use your music for specifically video games, or it could be like
movies, TV shows, so synchronization, basically.
Okay. So you won awards in this, right?
I did. Yeah, I did. A couple awards.
Which ones did you get? Tell us.
So, okay. So 2020 is when I started. 2021, I believe that blue one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Over there. That was Best Newcomer in Sync. So that was really cool. It was an award based out of London, and I was like, what? I got an award. This is really cool. And then last year I got an award for a couple songs I did for Bacardi. They put out an EP, and so I did a couple songs with them. So, you know.
That's dope. We also have the video clip for this, so I want to show everyone as well. This is the trailer. What's the video game called?
Riders Republic.
All right, let's show that to the people. I kind of want to watch the whole thing. It's only 1 minute and 30 seconds.
It's so fire.
Yeah, hold on.
Good afternoon. This is your captain speaking.
So fire.
It looks like you made the song for that.
It's crazy, right? Like they'll chop it up and like
It's
it's genius what they do.
it is. It's so dope. Like honestly, it looks like they're like, hey, write a song for this video game, and then that's what happened. Like they made it look so fucking dope. How do you do this all on your own without a label? Like
I mean, you know me.
I know you're a hustler, but tell
And then I have this type A personality where like everything I do, it has to be done yesterday.
Mhm.
And I'm super organized, but I don't know, like that label path was never for me. And even though it wasn't for me, I mean, not for lack of trying, right? Like you come up and that's like the dream. Like I want to go to a label, but then you hit a point where you're like, okay, but if I'm not going to go to a label, like, am I going to quit or am I going to keep going? And the only option is to keep going, and cool, I'll be the label. I'll make the phone calls, I'll make the music, I'll do all of it. And that's, you know, and I kind of, and you know that because we go back so long, is that, and you're the same way in your career.
Mhm.
Like we've had to do everything ourselves basically for so long. And you just make it work because you love what you do.
You have to. Like there's no B. There's no option B.
No,
Like
no.
yeah.
We've even talked about it. I mean, being friends in real life, like, you know, we have our moments where we're like, oh God, why couldn't we just go be like something else?
Yeah.
Less stress, but like, no, we love what we do. So here we are.
You got to make it work. Yeah, I mean, I there's a lot of people that I've seen trying to do something, you know, like whether it's on social media or whatever, and they just don't have, like a lot of people don't have what we have, like that mentality, that drive, that hustle, that grind. Like a lot of people don't have that shit, unfortunately. Like so many people are like, how do you do all these things? And how, you know, and I'm just like, just fucking do it. I don't know what
Figure it out. Figure it out.
I don't know what to tell you. You just you have to do it. That's it.
I mean, I have so many weird tools in my arsenal, like of things that I know how to do. And I only know how to do them because I needed somebody to do it, or I got tired of waiting for people to do it, or whatever the case is. Like even recording, I love to record myself. Like I would prefer to be at my home studio, cutting vocals, getting it done quickly, efficiently. And even now, like I think now more than ever, when I'm in town, I'm like, I'll just record it here at my house. I do love going and working with other producers like out of state and, you know, getting into their zone and stuff. But like for me, music, especially being in the studio, is a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think. I read a quote somewhere where it said like, that's what makes you great at what you do, is that you'll be able to execute it even when you don't want to, even when you know, like that's your job. And I always looked at it like that. I never looked at like being in the studio as like, oh, we're going to hang out. We're going to kick it. Like,
Right.
no.
Yeah. I can relate to that too, because when I meet people, obviously I don't rap, but when I meet people and they say like, oh, your photo shoots must be so fun, or they assume it's like a party or we're just like hanging out. I'm like, no, go there, do my job, get out. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like you, I prefer to do things at home too. Like if I can shoot in my house, that's what I'm doing. If I can film content for YouTube or whatever in my house, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, maybe we're just like introverted homebodies and we don't even realize it.
It could be, that's very possible. But also I think that when you have the experience that we have in our own industries or whatever, you already know, like, for me, if I shoot with photographers that I shoot with often, I'm like, send me all the pictures, I'll edit, because I know I'm going to get it done faster.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting on other people. So I know that if I'm shooting in my house, it's done faster, it's easier, it's less stress. I have a closet full of clothes in case I need to change. I don't have to worry about packing and I missed something, I didn't bring something that I needed, whatever. Like, it just, to me, it's easier. Like it could be, you know, some sort of introverted thing, but also I feel like it's just more efficient. Like I just get more shit done when I'm doing my work from my house.
Yeah, same.
If I can, obviously, if I can. But how would you give us a couple words that would describe your music style?
Powerful.
That's a good one.
Gritty. And what would be the third one? Powerful, gritty, and unapologetic.
That's a good one.
You know, like, because I don't care. I just want to make good music. I love it. And I also learned that, like, I don't even have to like follow any rules. Just make good music, or make music that I'm happy with. Because that's another thing you learn, like being in the music industry. Like, you can make music that makes you happy, or you can make music that makes everybody else happy, or what they think you need to make, or this is what's happening now, so you should do it too. But like, I found who I was, and then I was like, and I'm gonna ride this bitch all the way.
Yeah, and that probably happens too. Like if you put out a certain song, let's just say, that has a certain vibe, and then people may, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming people would think that you're going to continue on in that vibe, but you can change it up and like do all sorts of, you know, music, different kind of lyrics. Like you could be a sad girl one day and then hype as fuck the next day. And like, it kind of sucks that once you start putting out your art or your craft in whatever way, that people kind of think you need to stay in that lane.
Right.
You know?
I hate that. And I have never been that artist. Like, I mean, I have changed styles. Like, I just do, like, I'll do anything. Like, I love making music. So like, give me something. And if like I catch a vibe on it, let's go.
Yeah. I'm the same with shooting, dude. Like sometimes people are like, oh, that was dark and weird. I'm like, it's October. I want to be dark and weird. It's spooky season. Let me be covered in blood or whatever. Like, what's the problem? It's still art. I'm still being creative. Like, it's just because,
Right.
you know, when people are not used to something, they don't like it. People don't like change. So
Right.
but fuck that. Aside from music, I know that you advocate for mental health.
I do.
How did this start? If you don't mind sharing like a little bit of your mental health journey. And
Oh, absolutely. So I feel like I came out of the womb with anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom gave birth to me and I was probably like, you know, I even see baby pictures of me and I feel like I'm stressed. Like the stress line happens here.
Yeah.
And I'm like a toddler, you know? But I always had anxiety. And I think when you're younger, you don't know what it is, right? It's just a way of
Especially
being.
back then, right? Like people didn't talk about this back then.
No, at all.
Yeah.
But I think that I hit a certain point in my life where I started doing research and I was like, oh, I have anxiety and I have a little bit of OCD. And once I was able to identify those things, I started feeling so much better. And then once I started like going online and doing research, like, oh wait, you're not the only one that feels this way. You're not the only one that deals with this. That made me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm chatty, obviously, and I'm very like open about certain things. And so I started talking to people about it. Like, hey, do you ever feel like this? And what I realized is that we all do. We all have things we deal with. And the more we talk about it, the better we feel, because you don't want to ever feel like, having anxiety or having any kind of mental health issue, you don't want to feel alone in that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the music business, like, I don't know, like I was always just really open about it. And then people started contacting me like, hey, do you want to talk about it on panels and things like that? And I was like, sure. Yeah, let's do this, because I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of, I think that some of the things that maybe trigger my anxiety or how do I see this? I don't know how to say it, but like there's strengths and weaknesses in it, right? Like I'm so type A, I'm so OCD. I've got to like take care of things right away. I've got to be on top of things, or my mind starts going, a million miles an hour. But that also serves me in a good way. Like it serves me in my job. It serves me in my daily life. Like I'm able to take care of tasks. I plan ahead. I do all of these things. But, so that's how I became like very open about it, because I felt better telling other people and they felt better being able to discuss it.
Yeah.
And knowing we weren't alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. I was probably born with anxiety too. It's insane how like, when we were growing up, it was not discussed. It wasn't a thing. Like you would tell your parents, like, I'm anxious, or like, I don't feel good, or I'm whatever. And they'd be like, suck it up. Like,
You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Go drink some water. Like drinking water was the cure for like everything. Like go drink some water, go outside or whatever. And now, mental health is like very openly talked about for the most part. And like mostly, people are not scared to say how they feel anymore. So I think that's great. Do you ever get like, I know we have different fans because, the paths we took, but do you ever get like people saying like, oh, you don't seem like you have anxiety because you're so talkative and you're so open and you're so friendly? And it's like, because people say that to me all the time, like, you don't have PTSD. I'm like, bet,
Right.
like you don't know me in real life. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about? So like, does that ever happen to you where people are just like, oh, you seem fine, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, like what the fuck?
All the time. I mean, I don't think all the time, but I also think I don't know. You can't judge a book by its cover, right? That's it. Like, period.
Mm-hmm.
And end of sentence. You can't judge a book by its cover. And I think we all deal with things differently.
Yeah.
And we cope in different ways. I mean, once I realized like, oh, this is what it is, like that helped me too, like putting a title to what I was feeling. So like, to go back to what you were saying, in fairness to our parents, like they had no idea.
Right.
Like literally no one was talking about it. And it's just in like recently where you've got all these like brain study, right? Like we don't have all the studies and all the information on how the brain works. So there was no way we could have been like, I'm anxious. That wasn't even a word back then, I'm sure, that people were using. But what was the question? Maybe this is why I'm not on podcasts.
No, the question was like, do you ever get like people saying like that you don't seem anxious? Like, but no, you answered it. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
But back to the parent thing, like for sure. Like I'm not saying it to like blame my parents. Like,
yeah,
we didn't have bad, childhoods, or like we, our parents didn't suck, whatever. It's just, it's so crazy that now it's so open, and like everyone is open about being in therapy now. Back then, if you were like, I need therapy, they're like, oh, you're probably
crazy,
bipolar, or like insane, or a psycho or something. And now it's like everyone has a therapist they talk to every week.
I will say this though, Oh my God, this dog. My parents are still like, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
You know?
my dad is similar because my dad's like a tough guy, like you
Yeah.
gotta be tough. So, my dad will call me and he'll be like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Terrible." And I'll just start telling him like why I feel terrible. And he's like, "It's in your mind." I'm like,
It is in my mind, and I wish I could, like, or my mom will say, I love her, but she'll be like, just stop thinking about it.
yeah, my mom will say, this is what my mom does to me. She'll go, "You need to get your anxiety under control." I'm like,
Yeah,
thank
I
you
would
for
love
that.
to. I didn't think about it. Like when people are like, when you're going through it and they're like, just stop. Okay, thank you.
Relax.
Relax. I wish I could relax. That's the goal here. This is the goal I want. But when I went to my doctor and finally figured it out, and he put me on medication, and I was like, wow, this is how everybody else feels.
Yeah.
Normal,
Yeah.
and because that's what it is for me. And I don't know if it's for you like that. When you're anxious about something, you'll have now a million thoughts, and they're so irrational because you're not thinking about like, oh, I have a bill to pay, or my health could be in danger. You're thinking about things that do not matter, like at all, not even a little bit, like just.
I've had that anxiety before where it's just like I'm making things up in my head.
Yes.
But now that I've been through like some scary health stuff, my anxiety is only about health. So it'll go from like, oh, my shoulder hurts. I'll forget completely that I went to the gym that day and like literally worked shoulders, right? But I'll be like, my shoulder hurts.
Right.
Oh, now it's kind of going to my chest. Hold on.
Well, now you're having a heart attack.
Now I'm having a heart attack
100%.
and I have a blood clot and now I got to go to the hospital. And it's fucked up because it's not just mental. For me, it like manifests into
you froze.
physical. I froze. So did you. Like for
Yeah,
me,
we
it'll
go from 0 to 100.
Yeah. And for me, like my anxiety will give me like physical pains.
Yes.
Like that's the worst thing for me is like when I am anxious and then now like my chest hurts, my stomach hurts, like I'm shitting myself, like I feel terrible for the rest of the fucking day. It's the worst. And I don't think people like talk about that enough. I think they only talk about really like the mental struggle, but like it affects so many other things physically too. What are some things you do to try to like help your anxiety and kind of like maintain your grounding or your sanity, like especially with your career and just life?
Curl up in a ball and cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Give up.
Just scream into the void. Okay, so one thing I do that helps a lot is I over prepare for everything, because I feel like the more I'm prepared, the more I'm in control.
Yeah.
So that helps me a lot. Like even when I go on a trip, I'm like, everything has to be packed a certain way. I need to make sure I have everything. And then it's weird because I also thrive in like high stress situations.
Me too.
Like give me 100 things to do and tell me it needs to be done in like a day. And I am like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's almost when I have like too much time on my hands, then now my brain is like, okay, let's think about that one thing you did in 3rd grade and let's really dissect it now, or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. But when I'm busy, I'm like the best form of me because I'm just like, yes, I'm in it. I can't think about anything else. It's just got to make this list and go.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. If I have a bunch of shit to do, I'll do everything. And then once I'm in bed, I'm like, oh, this hurts. Hold on. I don't feel good. And I'm like, dude, fuck. You just went the whole day being productive as hell, not thinking about a damn irrelevant thing. And now you're in bed and you can't sleep till 4 a.m. because now all your anxiety comes back and all your stupid thoughts and shit. But
hot yoga helps me a lot.
I do this.
I think just like going in there and sweating. Because you remember, like, I don't sweat. Like, it's a thing. Like, I don't sweat. Mm-hmm. So one, I'm not good at exercise, so I feel like I'm the opposite of you. So I feel like when I go to hot yoga, the hard part is getting in the car and going. And then once you're there,
Yeah.
you just do, as long as you do everything you're told, you're done.
Yeah.
So that helps me. And then I read on my Kindle. I'm obsessed. I do like one book every 2 days.
Yeah, I've gotten really into like audiobooks lately because I could just listen while I'm doing whatever. Like sometimes I'm in the gym listening to an audiobook like about narcissistic abuse or something, and I'm just working out, like listening to some woman or whatever. Like I'll listen to anything while I'm working out. So that helps me like get through some books as well, like audio.
I like to read for entertainment.
Yeah.
So I will like find a series that I love, and then it's got like 27 books in it, and I'm like, yes, that's the one. Let's go.
No, not me. I only do like self-help stuff or like health related things or like sciencey nerdy shit or whatever. I listen to a lot of podcasts too. Like that helps. And you know, like it sounds super cheesy, but it also helps when, because I live alone, I'm single, whatever, right? So I'm always alone. Like everyone I know has kids. My mom is not here. My dad's doing his own thing. Like I don't really have like I'm not super close with my family physically, whatever. It also helps me a lot to like listen to podcasts and stuff while I'm just doing like my day-to-day shit, because I feel like, not that I'm having a conversation because I'm not talking back to like,
there's somebody there.
Yeah, but it's like I'm listening to something, so it's just not fucking silence like around me all the time. So that helps too.
There's a YouTube channel I love and watch or listen to all the time. Like I could be in the shower and I'm listening to it, but it's Soft White Underbelly.
Okay.
And it's insane because I listen to it's a lot of like women. The stories I like are women that have like they're like prostitutes or strippers or they're in the sex industry, and it's interesting to listen to these stories because you're like they all come from different walks of life and they all have different perspectives and they're great interviews.
Yeah. What is it called?
It's called Soft White Underbelly.
I'm gonna subscribe.
It's really a cool. I don't know how I went down that rabbit hole, but I do love hearing like women's stories. Like just
wow, 5 million subscribers.
Yeah. Mark's an amazing, like he's amazing. He does these great interviews where he just asks a question and people just talk.
Yeah.
And you just hear their whole life story.
That's dope. I like stuff like that too. Like it's not so interview style. It's more like a conversation. Like those are dope too. I get into, that's why I like the Joe Rogan podcast so much too, because just like they're just talking for 3 fucking hours.
And you know what's funny is Mark and Joe Rogan are friends, and like so he's been on his show. And what I love about Mark's show is his office is on Skid Row in LA. So he's pulling people off the street and like, let's talk. So, you know, you get to hear these different perspectives.
Real life people too, not just like celebrities or whatever. Yeah, that's dope. I like that. I just subscribed. I'm going to check that out.
Yay.
But so is there anything coming up for you that you want to tell people about? Any projects you're working on? What's the latest project that you've dropped?
So I do have a fire EP that's out on Spotify. It's called Run Baby Run. And it's amazing. I think I recorded it's only 5 songs, but I recorded it in like a couple days, like 2 days. Like I just was on one. And I was in that mode of like, let's make high energy music. And I want it to be intense. And I just want people, it's great for working out, I might add.
Yeah.
Not yoga, but like all of the workouts.
Not hot yoga.
Not hot yoga, but everything else is great. But God, I'm obsessed with that project because it's just like so me. And so I've dropped that. And then I'm just continuing to just work, you know, whatever comes across my desk. I mean, I've been in like 200 TV shows now. It's crazy. I don't say that enough.
You don't give yourself enough credit, like for sure.
Like my husband's like, why do you not lead with that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Do you
know?
think it's like subconsciously you're like trying to be humble or like you don't want to come off a certain way? Or do you think like, I don't know.
I definitely never want to come off a certain way. Like I definitely don't ever want to do that.
Even you're like overthinking it. Like if you like, oh, but if I say that, I might sound, I don't know, conceited or something. Like
I don't know why I don't do it. I really
I don't know why either. Because when I asked you to be on the fucking podcast, you're like, me? Why? I'm like, what the fuck do you mean?
I really felt like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is Fanny asking me? Like, what do you know? Like, what would we talk about?
What
But
do you mean? Like, you've been on all these TV shows. You've been fucking writing music, doing your own music videos. You've been on the side of a bus. You were in this NHL thing. You were in fucking the video game. Like, what do you mean? You got to give yourself more credit.
I'm gonna work on that. That's gonna be a goal going into 2025. Is like, girl.
Like you're her, as the teeny boppers say now. Like, I'm her. You have to.
Oh,
do that.
okay.
Yeah, that's what they say. Like, I'm her, or guys say I'm him.
I'm
Like,
him.
the one. Yeah.
I'm her.
I do the same shit though. I'm guilty of the same shit. When I was younger, it was very easy for me to like, oh, I was in all these magazines, whatever. And then now as I get older, like I think back and I'm like, damn, I really was like on the cover of a lot of fucking.
You were.
Like,
You were I mean,
like all the time.
all the time.
Like every month I was at Barnes and Noble, like, here I am again. Here I am again. Like, what the fuck?
Do you
But-
remember the pink hair you had?
Yes, of course.
And like the cut and everything was so cool.
Oh my God, was it?
I mean, for back then, yeah, it was cool.
Back then.
I mean, for back then, you were like ahead of a lot of people. You were tatted up.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of girls were like committed to it like you were, right? So you had this very unique look to you, and you had this cool haircut, and you did these crazy shoots.
Yeah.
And
I
you know what? I'm surprised people don't
definitely
judge you. I'm surprised people don't judge you more, because it's funny. Like when I say my friend Vanny, and I tell people about you, because I talk about you, and you know they'll see you, and I almost can see it in their heads that they're like, how are you guys friends? And what they don't know is like, you're so down to earth. We've fed the homeless together. We've done like all kinds of cool shit together.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, but I think when people look at you, they're like, oh, she's a tough bitch. Like,
Yeah, she's
you
rude
know?
or like yeah, or dumb. That's a big one too, especially with the OnlyFans thing. It's like, oh, so that's what you got going. I'm like, shut up, man. Shut
I
the
mean, you guys make so much money, you know, like, right? That's a thing.
Yeah, like give me a job where I'm making the same amount of money and I'll quit tomorrow, but it's not there. So stop it. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, if there was like an OnlyFans need for like maybe like I'll talk you through your problems, I would sign up tomorrow.
You could do it though, because OnlyFans is literally where you can charge people for content. It doesn't matter what kind of content it is. Like you can charge people like, okay, all Adila fans, come on my OnlyFans. You guys get to hear music first. You guys get to see behind the scenes of my videos. You guys see more whatever. And like, if your fans want to support you, they're going to pay the monthly fee. Like you can put whatever you want on there. There's personal training. It's just the stigma of OnlyFans makes it sound like it's all nudity, but it's not.
I think between music and like keeping up with the 17 social media platforms,
yeah.
I have zero time. It's like zero time for anything. And you know, nowadays is like, it doesn't matter what you do, you now have to also be a content creator.
Yes.
And that's like something where, you know, I built my, when the pandemic happened, I was on TikTok and I was like making content, like really cool content all the time. And I grew really fast. But then once I had to go back in the studio and actually work, I was like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. Like I can't record myself recording and doing, and like it's boring. I'm like working through a song or whatever it is. But nowadays in almost every job, you also have to be able to market yourself. Like whether you're a realtor or you sell cars or whatever it is, you also have to be good at marketing and content creation.
There are people who are fishermen making content. Like everyone is just making content. Like
I mean, I do watch like carpet cleaning videos, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. You know, like why am I watching somebody mow the lawn? But he's like, they're mowing the lawn and telling a story, and I'm like down the rabbit hole, and I'm like,
Have you seen the videos of the girls that clean the toilets and they use like 30 different products in different colors, like different cleaning foams?
I'm almost waiting for like one of those toilets to explode because they're putting so many different chemicals in there.
No, the person is gonna explode from the amount.
Something's gonna explode. But yeah, I'll watch those, and I'm like, here I am watching this. I'm 45 videos deep in rug cleaning, carpet cleaning, laying in bed at night, like, oh wow, this is so good, you know.
Look at all the dog hair they removed with that vacuum.
Yeah, look at that before and after. But then I'm like, you know, you should be creating content too. But you know, I don't know. I feel like the content is my music.
That's how I feel too. Like my content is behind the scenes stuff and photo shoot stuff or whatever. Like, what else am I gonna? And then it's also to a point where, like, if I post my opinion on absolutely anything in the world, I get attacked. Like, just shut up and keep taking pictures.
You get attacked. You do get attacked. I don't get attacked.
Anytime I speak. And then it's funny because since I've started this podcast, going back to what you said about like not having time for shit, when I started this podcast, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so cool, whatever. And when I was just learning how to use the equipment and everything, like when we're filming, like, you know, face to face in studio, I'm like, oh man, this is a fucking lot. Like I have to get a mixer. What? I need fucking mics and headsets and what the fuck? That was a lot. And I'm like, do I have time for this? But I'm making the time for it. But since starting this podcast, because I went, like when I first started social media, I used to get a lot of hate, and then it stopped completely for like years. I didn't get hate. And now that I started this, I'm starting to get hate again because I'm stating my opinions, or I'll post like a reel of a clip from the episode. And it's like, it'll be the most random thing that I'm saying.
Polarizing.
There's no explanation as to what I'm talking about. So people take that little bit of information and they just like, well, maybe if you did this and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you don't even know what I'm talking about. It's literally a clip of me saying something a doctor said, for example. And everyone's like, well, you're stupid for listening to doctors. I'm like, you didn't hear the rest of the story. Because like the rest of that sentence could have been the doctor's a fucking idiot or whatever. But
right.
Like people are like jumping down my fucking throat now for me.
But you have always had a thick skin. Like me, people are generally, and please stick to this, whoever's watching, people are generally nice to me on the internet. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because but you have always, like, you've had a thick skin. Like you not only do you not care, sometimes you will like really stick it to them.
Yeah.
You will further dig in to aggravate people. So, you know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, I like to throw it back, you know, if they do it to me first. That's for sure. Especially on TikTok. The TikTok kids, like, they make me laugh, and I'll just like, they'll go on rants, paragraphs, sending me paragraphs about what a stupid bitch I am or whatever. And then I just write like, wow, you're a badass. Like I just say like something short and they're just like, fuck yeah. Like they get so mad at me. I'm like, child, go do your homework, get off the internet. Like,
and I'm the completely opposite. Like somebody will say something bad and I'm like, and I will respond in the nicest way. And then they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I didn't
like, you know, I didn't mean it. And I'm like, but that's how I am in my normal life. Like I generally don't like to piss people off, you know? So I think that's just my nature. But yeah. And the only thing I ever have on TikTok is like, why are you verified? That got under people's skin for so long. Like, why are you verified? And I'm just like,
hater.
I mean, I would just make shit up. I would just be like, because I invented stocks, or you know, like say some shit. Because I'm like, just click on one of the links and you can see like,
just start telling people different stories every time. Like I invented this. I'm the creator of this. I was married to whatever. Say some random famous person. Like just give them all, because they'll all run with it, especially on TikTok.
Especially on TikTok, but you know, all of it is necessary, and I do love it because it is shitty as it can be sometimes and overwhelming. It does bring a lot of people together.
Yeah,
and like I've met cool people on all the social media apps that I've actually become friends with, like for real friends, like you know. So I am appreciative of that.
Yeah, it has its good moments too, for sure. But I think we could end it here.
Okay.
Did you have fun on your first podcast?
I did. Everybody call me now.
So guys, make sure to follow Adila. I'm gonna put everything in the description below. Catch us on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Go follow Adila. Go listen to her music. It's everywhere. Links in her bio everywhere.
And be nice to my friend Vanny.
And be nice to Adila. Just because you're mean to me, don't go be mean to her.
I love you, Vanny. I really do. And thank you so much.
Of course.
But that's not how they do it now. You gotta go. No. Oh, this.
This way?
No, this. Have you seen this?
What is this?
It's a heart. Look it up.
God, yeah, I see it now. No,
Yeah.
To me, it's like the world's smallest, like little violin.
This is the new vibe.
Wow, I'm late.
Learn
What is
something.
the other one? The other one was like this, middle fingers.
I don't know. I mean, I do this.
I do this too.
this
And I still throw up the peace sign because
I do too.
we're old.
You're old. I'm young.
We are on these cameras. All right, I'm ending this.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.